Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the dads. Happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to everyone in the room, all the guys in the room. Happy Father's Day to all the guys at home who have babies. Wow, what a day. My dad, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dad, a little bit about my husband. But when I thought about Father's Day yesterday, I said, well, we're not doing a show on Father's Day, but this is a topic near and dear to my heart because I had a very active dad in the house. Like, he was present. He was very present. And I have a husband that's very, very present with our son. But I read all these studies all the time about what happens in a fatherless home. And I know it's a topic people don't like to discuss. They don't feel like it's woke enough. You know, everyone wants to tell you, oh, you can do it alone. You don't need a man. You don't need a guy in the house. That's not that important. It actually is quite important. And of course, there's going to be people out there, single moms, who find themselves in circumstances that are less than ideal, who are doing an amazing job, kicking butt. I get it. I totally get it. But we also have to be realistic about the role that dads play in children's lives. And I'm not just talking about sons, I'm talking about daughters. And what has the potential to happen if there isn't a dad in the home? There are some concerns that have been rising up. There are some stats we need to look at. I'm not typically a stats girl, but I want to start today with some serious stats on this issue because this is an important one. And we do have an epidemic right now, not just in this country, but in the world at large. But let's focus on this country of fatherless homes. So let's take a look at some of these. This is from the National Center for Fathering and the Fatherless Generation. And we got this from nolongerfatherless.org. 85% of youths in prison come from fatherless homes. 71% of high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. And 60% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. So just take a second and absorb that as we talk about these big issues of suicide. We're always on the brain is mental health and guns and, education and performance in classrooms and all of these things. Think about all of that as we look at these statistics. And I have a lot more of these coming because I think they're shocking. They were for me, at least. They may be for some of you. This is from the 2017 U.S. Census Bureau. It came from parentspluskids.com. And I'm going to just go through a couple of these. The percentage of children without a father in the U.S. is 43%. They mean with like an absentee father. 90% of runaway and homeless children are from fatherless homes. 70% of minors housed in state facilities are from fatherless homes. If you go down a little bit into the section called How a Fatherless Generation Affects Education, 71% of all high school dropouts from fatherless homes. The percentage of minors in prison who grew up without a father, 85%. This stuff blew my mind. I knew it was a problem. Did I know it was this much of a problem? I didn't. Health-related issues impacted by fatherlessness. This is also from the 2017 U.S. Census. The percentage of adolescents in substance abuse treatment facilities who are from fatherless homes, 75%. 71% of teenagers who are pregnant teens, come from a fatherless home. 63% of youth suicides happen in households with an absent father. 85% of children with behavioral disorders are from homes without fathers. Teen girls without a father are 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teenager. So again, think about all the things we talk about. All of these big issues, whether it's abortion, whether it's crime happening in cities, whatever it is, you always have to think about, we always talk about the family and the breakdown of the family and what's going on in the family. And I always say, bring every issue down back to your dinner table. Everything happens at that community level, right at that dinner table. Is there a dad present in the home? Seems to be one of the key questions that needs to be asked in terms of what is the evolution of that child? What's missing? What's going on? And how is that impacting all of these big picture issues that are happening around the country? And the last one, which we talk about economics all the time, children are 4 times more likely to be in poverty from the lack of a father in the home. So this is just reality, right? This isn't, angling stuff. Oh, we want to present a certain perspective. We want, a certain point of view to thrive. So no, this is just the reality of what's happening in this country right now. And these stats are startling. Now, I said there was an epidemic. That's true. Think about, again, every issue on the table right now throughout the country, almost every one of them that you care about, everything. I don't care what it is. Think about, would that issue be better or worse if these stats didn't look like this? Think about it. Think about people you know. Do you know people who grew up in a fatherless home? How did that impact them? Ask them about it. Have those conversations. This is very, very, very important stuff. And again, I remember hearing a conversation way back. I was having a conversation with someone, actually, now that I think of it, about this issue. And I remember them saying to me, you don't need a guy. You don't need a guy to have a baby. It's not necessary. That's antiquated. And I said, well, first of all, you do need a guy to have a baby. That's number one. And secondly, what a horrible message that is. What a horrible message that is, that child could grow up in a world without a father, and that would just be replaceable in some way. That's just not what happens. That's not what it looks like. So let me tell you a little bit about my life. I grew up in a house with a dad that was very present. My dad was one of the reasons that I'm a badass right now, truthfully. He taught me from a very young age to speak my mind. I was a very shy kid. They kind of had to like pull me out of my shell. You're like, Jed, come on. Really, honestly. In the first grade, I think my mom always tells the story that the teacher came to her and said, does she talk? And my mom was like, she does, but she's really shy. Can you imagine? You're like, pull the mic away. Tyler, take it away. Cut her mic. But my dad was present. My dad was the guy who was on the sidelines when I was running track, cheering me on. He was the one giving me a reality check too, saying, why are you saving that burst of energy for the end? You being lazy for the whole rest of the race, and then at the last 100 meters, all of a sudden, if you have that much energy at the end, you're not running the race right. He was the guy who spent every Saturday in the library with me when I was in high school doing papers and teaching me how to research and teaching me how to get that stuff done so that when I got to Columbia University, it was a piece of cake. I was like, I was doing this in high school. My dad taught me how to do this in high school. He was very present. This is not, by the way, a slight at moms. We're going to do a whole mom thing on Mother's Day because moms play an incredibly vital role. My mom's my best friend in the world. But this is about dads today, and I'm not going to apologize for that because dads are important, dads deserve a day, and dads deserve a voice. So my dad played that role. And also, we butted heads a lot. We did not agree on some things. But he taught me to be the type of kid that would be able to go to him and defend my point of view, which is why I'm able to sit here right now and go head to head with people that I disagree with, be it Nikki Fried, whoever it may be. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work. That was training that came from my dad, from those book reports, from all of those days of doing all that stuff, all of that grind. And, you know, it's interesting because my dad's super practical too. So when I decided I wanted to go into television, I think he nearly swallowed his tongue and he was like, no, please not TV. He wanted me to get, that regular job with that 401k, that practical stuff. That wasn't me. So he raised me though to be the type of person. I sat down with him. I remember one day and I was like, listen, I'm going to do this. It's going to be fine. I got to go get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So don't worry, chill. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And he just, in that moment, I think he had two sentiments. One was, oh, dear Lord, what's going to happen here? And the other was, wow, I raised her to sit across the table from me and go after something that's hard. Well done. Tony was patting himself on the back that day. He's also the guy that I went to a lot of times when I did want to talk about dating and relationships. Those were conversations, of course, I had with my mom. I had different conversations with my mom. But my dad would sit me down if I was in a bad relationship and he would be like, that's not how a man treats a woman. That's a boy. You need to know the difference between a man and a boy. This is not good for you, what's going on, and here's why. So he taught me, he's one of the reasons why I didn't put all the goods out there to all the guys. I had a lot of self-respect for my body. I was like, you need to earn it. You need to earn that from me. You're going to take me on a whole bunch of dates. You're going to prove that you're worthy. He instilled that in me as a young woman. Very, very young. And that was really, really important growing up in a place like New York City, where a lot of women had a very different attitude in these woke times of, oh, sexual freedom. And I wasn't raised that way. He taught me, hold the goods back. Self-respect. Those are conversations I had with my father. That's important. Very, very important. Now let's get to my husband. Jeremy. Jeremy was a dad before he became a dad. One of the first dates that I had with Jeremy, no joke, he was younger than I was. he sat me down. I think it was the first date. I'm not kidding. He sat me down and he was like, well, you know, I want to be a soccer dad and I want a workbench in the garage. He was a young guy. I was like, what is going on here that this young guy is schooling me? He knew what he wanted. He is the most incredible father. When I got up in the middle of the night to pump milk, I was nursing Hartley for the first few months. He would get up with me. He would get up in the middle of the night. He would wash those bottles out. He would, babe, is there anything else you need? He would cook meals. We are like partners like this. Something needs to get done in the house. It's like, who's going to do it? It's not like, oh, this is a mom task. This is a dad. No, it's like, what needs to get done? He is so present for that child every single day. And he's the one who got him on a feeding schedule, who got him on a sleeping schedule. He's the one who, if Hartley falls down and skins his knee, I'm like, baby, skin his blood. Oh my, you know, I'm that person. Jeremy's like, he's going to be okay. And we need to show him that he's going to be okay. He's like, Papa, you're fine. We call him Little Papa. There's Papa, and then there's the Little Papa. And he has gotten so much strength from my husband and so much. We took him to soccer for the first time this week, and he saw that Daddy was watching him, and he was like, I'm going to kick the ball, and I'm going to do control. And it's so important. I cannot imagine how different my life would have been. And that's not, again, to say I love my baby. Like, I'm all in on being his mom. My mom was an amazing mom. She has my back through thick and thin. That's not saying I'm not taking away from the moms here. I'm giving to the dads. And my whole life, I don't know what that would have looked like without my dad. I can't imagine. I truly can't imagine. And I can't imagine my son's life without Jeremy in there, because it's a balance, right? And no one wants to say that moms bring something to the table and dads bring something to the table, and it's different. It's just different. And together, they make a complete package for that child. I know someone's going to tell me, you're outdated. You're a Neanderthal. Call me what you want. It's the truth. It's the cold, hard truth. And you see in the stats, when you take a father out of the home, you see the problems that arise. There are reasons for that, because dads are bringing something that no one else is. And when I say a father figure, I mean, you could have a grandpa in the house too. You know, it's not every family. There are going to be different types of families. People are going to suffer tragedies, right? You're going to have a dad, God forbid, that passes away. You're going to have a grandpa or an uncle step into that role. I'm not knocking on any of those families. What I'm saying is that there needs to be a father figure in that house. There needs to be a father figure in that house, or you run the risk of complications. You run the risk of consequences. You absolutely do. And I could twist those stats and I could paint a pretty picture of unicorns and rainbows, but it's not real. And dads at home who are on the fence, who are like, I don't know, I had a kid young. I have a friend, had a kid really young. And he was like, I don't know. He went through a crisis of conscience. He was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I can do this. I'm so proud of him, because he came into the understanding that that job was the most important job he was ever going to have, one. And it was also the most rewarding job he was ever going to have. And he became a man through being a dad. And it was the most incredible thing to watch. So I want everyone listening who might be like, I don't know, it's hard. It's really hard, but you have the power to change somebody's life in such a big way. So this is just my tribute to dads out there, to everyone out there who's, you know, balancing a lot, who's juggling a lot, who's in the home, who's present for your kids. You don't even know what it's doing today, but every positive thing in that kid's life, I guarantee you're going to trace it back to the fact that you were there, that you were present, and that you cared enough to be there. If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.